Hi guys, John McBride here. I'm a technology evangelist at Citrix and wanted to show you how to do some quick starts with the ShareFile .NET SDK. If you download the Citrix Developer extension for Visual Studio, we have a couple of ShareFile quick starts included as project templates that we include in that extension. So if you download that, you can actually get started with these with the ShareFile API. So with that, let's kind of jump in and see how we can do that. So if you go to File, New, Project, we'll initialize the templates and we'll show you some of the new ShareFile specific project and item templates that we have. So under the C# node, under Citrix, you'll find ShareFile. We have four kind of quick start samples in here. They're basically OAuth samples using the .NET SDK and without the SDK, which is basically using our HTTP endpoint, and also listing the files in your ShareFile account with or without the SDK. So this kind of tutorial will go over just the OAuth samples and quick start. So we'll do that. So we'll select this simple OAuth sample here. Go with our standard project name and then do OK. So the first thing you notice is we actually ask for your client ID or some ShareFile specific API information. You can get this by signing up for a ShareFile API key. If you don't know where that is, you can click on the here link within the wizard, and it'll take you directly to that page where you can actually sign up for the API keys for ShareFile. So we'll put our client ID and our client secret in here, and then our redirect URL. This is something you specify when you sign up for the API key, so you'll get it right after you sign up. So we'll do OK here. We'll actually create the sample. So now the sample is created. We actually present you the API site for ShareFile. So if you wanted to drill into more of the APIs, you can do that right from here. And then we actually show you we give you a predefined form. Basically, we have a button here that does the authentication using the .NET SDK. We have a web browser control that actually helps with the OAuth workflow, and then a bunch of labels that will populate with the information we get back from the authentication token. So if we drill into the code here, you can see that we're basically just specifying our redirect URL. We pre-populate some constant values here with the information we put in the wizard, and then basically here's our navigation for the web browser OAuth workflow. So with that, it's kind of a pretty standard app. So let's actually run it and see what we get here. So here's our app. We can say authenticate with ShareFile. We'll actually load up the OAuth site from ShareFile. And we can log in here with our account. You would use your login. We'll give our password. We can say login. And so we perform the authentication. We redirected. You can see we present you with a little dialog that says, hey, we got your access token from the SDK API. We do OK here. And then we actually populate the labels here with all the information that came back from the API. So we give you the subdomain, some of the control plane information, and your tokens that you're going to need to do subsequent calls via the API. So that's a really quick sample on how to do the OAuth workflow. So check it out for that particular workflow piece. So for the next sample, we'll actually talk about displaying files or listing files from your ShareFile account. So we also have a project template for that. So we can go File, New Project. And then here it is, it's the ShareFile file listing sample using the .NET SDK. You can also build these samples without the SDK, which is just using our HTTP endpoint, but that'll be a to-do for you guys to check out. So we'll list the files here. Again, we present you with the same ShareFile kind of API information, so you'll have to fill that out one more time. This just helps us fill in the information for the sample to work. And we'll enter our redirect. So here we're building up the sample again. In this particular sample, we have kind of two forms. We have our standard form, our button that actually helps do the authentication, and then a tree view that actually will list all the files. And then we also have our OAuth authentication form. This is basically just a form that has a web browser control on it that we will then interact with for the authentication. So from here, we'll kind of do a start. We'll debug it. We can say authenticate via ShareFile. So we actually pop up our authentication form that we showed earlier. We'll log in here again. We'll say login. So we redirected, we did the authentication. We then actually do a query back to ShareFile, and we actually list some of the folders and files that we have in this particular account. So it's a really cool way of querying the ShareFile infrastructure, getting authenticated, and then listing your files. Really quick start on how to do that. So if you want to take a look at the code, we can kind of just jump in here. And you can see we do mostly the same thing we're doing in the previous example, except we're actually calling the OAuth form here that we have set up to actually help us do the authentication. So with that, that's kind of the ShareFile quick starts that we have in the Citrix Developer Visual Studio extension. Let us know what you guys think. You can tweet us at Citrix Developer. Or shoot us an email at developer@citrix.com. I'm John McBride at John McBride on Twitter. So if you let us know what you guys think, we'd appreciate it. Thanks.